There's no quick description and explanation for what I do. I'm a sign painter by trade, and sign painting is kind of just a big catch-all term for almost dozens of different applications. Yeah, historically, sign painters were basically ad agencies, pre-computerized signage. Someone would go to a sign painter and ask them to develop their brand, essentially. And, you know, I think that's one of the reasons that sign painters, there's so much diversity in the different ways that a sign painter expresses their art form. It's an ancient trade that's been around for who knows how long. There's an old joke that it's the world's second oldest profession because the first profession needed a sign. There's a whole different world within automotive and motorcycle graphics and lettering, pinstriping. The roots that I have, starting in my dad's shop, was doing just that, is hand lettering on classic cars that I still do some today. I own and operate Starr Studios, which is a commercial art studio, which is a blend of my roots in the trade of sign painting with a lot of different aspects of commercial design, while also incorporating original art pieces. There's so few people doing handcrafted work that when people come into the studio, everything seems so like marvelous to them, you know, the brushes, and you know, sometimes I'll bring people back into the little paint room and let them mess around with gold leaf and things like that, and they're just like, it's magical to them. I got introduced to the craft when I was a kid. My dad had a company that he started down in San Antonio, and I started working with him during the summers. I look back on it now with a lot of fondness because it just all seemed normal. It's not so much that I took that for granted, it's just, it allowed me to explore. I knew very little about Nepal, a vague reference to like an Indiana Jones movie or something. And about 5 years ago, I got into yoga and meditation. And you know, the term yoga is a translation essentially of the word union. And it's all the same idea, which is we've forgotten who we are and what we are. And when we can bridge that gap and understand again what we are and where we come from and where we're going, that's when you're truly tapping into the union of something larger. My interest in going to Nepal is I really want to get a sense for what the motivation is of the people that are doing handcrafted work there, how that lines up with those of us that are still doing it here. And also, on a personal level, I have a real desire to, I guess, see firsthand what some of these spiritual traditions that I'm attracted to, like how that translates in real time in a culture that has been immersed in it for thousands and thousands of years.
In Nepal, the population of Nepal is 30 million. And in Kathmandu Valley only, we have about 4 million people. The religions of Nepal here is 75% Hindus, 20% Buddhist, and 5% other religions like Muslims, Jains, and Christians.
Seeing the signs, the hand-painted signs in Kathmandu was like Disneyland for a sign painter, because on any given block, you could just spend hours just looking at all of the signs and examining the brushwork. And, you know, for someone who creates that kind of artwork for a living, you kind of don't want it to stop. When we first got to Kathmandu, I really wanted to see Thangka painters, especially in the setting of it being on the grounds of the Boudhanath Stupa. Boudhanath Stupa is a very ancient site. It's one of the main pilgrimage sites for Buddhists from all over the world. This site also attracts artists who are interested in the ancient art of Thangka, which is an art form illustrating Buddhist philosophies through elaborate scroll paintings. What I find most attractive about Thangka painting is the complexity and the layering of color and the use of gold. We visited master artist Tashi Lama to learn more about this intricate craft.
Namaste, Antastele, myself Tashi Lama. Actually, I have the school in here in the Boudhanath area. My school name is Rincheling Thangka Art School, where I'm just giving training to them and provide this job to them also.
Thangka has become an endangered art form because it takes 6 to 9 years worth of training just to get really going, and the amount of dedication with modern distractions is really making it more difficult to find people that want to invest themselves basically lifelong into the pursuit of a craft. I'm really interested in this large one here. Can you explain what is a Thangka painting?
These are all called the Thangkas, but on the Thangka have a sub-subject. This is the one of them. This is called the Kala Chakra Mandala. This is using for meditation. That's what we call the meditation device, as well as called the therapy of the mind.
So when you're meditating, is this to help you dwell on those ideas?
Yes,
okay.
yes. We should hang this kind of painting almost like the 2 feet far away from you. Then you should sit in the cross-leg position. Then you have to look all the details. You want to go from the outside to inside or inside to outside. It's dependent on you. That's both at the same
so it's
way.
like a road map.
Yeah, road map, yeah. Then after looking all the detail, then you should close your eyes. Then you should visualize inside. Slowly, slowly.
Each Thangka painting requires an enormous amount of devotion and skill from beginning to end. First, fabric must be stitched onto a frame and pulled tightly and evenly. The fabric is then treated with coats of white clay and yak skin paste to strengthen the surface.
After dry, it's going to be strong, like the drum.
Then a formula is drawn on the canvas, which will serve as the framework for the image. And how long does this take from start to finish?
Yeah, this was a 28-month work.
28 months.
Work.
Wow.
Just to sketch for this one, it took me like this around the 5 months. 5 months just to do.
I don't have the patience to work on anything for 28 months.
That's why I told you it's not an easy job becoming an artist.
Yeah. Thangka paintings are highly prized for the intensity and vibrance of their paint, which is made from natural ground stone. Lastly, 24-karat gold accents are added to the painting, the symbol of purification. I was hoping that maybe you could demonstrate the gold.
Yeah.
Because we use a lot of gold leaf in our work, but it's leaf.
Leaf, yeah.
And if I understood correctly, this is like a whole different thing.
It's real gold. This is the gold.
Oh, wow.
They chemicalize, making like this liquid. After that, they make a draw just to make this form. And we have to take this gold and mix the water and the glue. Then you should give the heat from the backside. Okay. Then it's dissolved. Would you like to try?
Yeah? I don't know, I'll mess it up.
Yeah, it's okay, just here.
Just there?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the later I can fix it out.
Like right there for the center?
Yeah. You can feel how is the work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do too good. All throughout Kathmandu, there are these corners of the city that are just like packed with history and culture, and that is just simultaneously going on with the millions of other people doing their daily routine. I looked down on the ground and was trying to register what I was seeing because I could swear it was gold leaf. It's something that I use in the studio on a regular basis, and we later saw that it was part of a ceremony they were doing.
Now we are going to Patan Durbar Square, which is in the south side, and Patan is also known as Lalitpur, the city of fine arts. In Nepali, for royal palace, we say Durbar. That's why it is known as Patan Durbar Square. So this is the oldest city, which is founded in 2nd century.
As soon as we hit the ground at Patan Durbar Square, you get the sense immediately that you're in a very ancient place. There's very few places that still exist that are that old, that are preserved, that the artwork is preserved, and that the artwork is revered. It's almost like an open-air museum environment walking around there.
the healing ball, those are made by 7 different metals and which is made by hand. And like especially this healing ball we use for like 2 purposes. So one is we use for like physical therapy, like if we have any kind of physical pain, like back pain, knee pain, headache, migraine, depression, okay? And other one we use for like sound healing therapy. All the human being, we do have a 7 different energy center in our body, which is known as a chakra, okay? Which is you can see on the picture as well. So those are the known as the chakras. So which is you start from the head. So this is we call crown chakra, third eye chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, and the root. So especially this healing ball we use to balance our chakras, or we use to clean our chakras by the sound healing therapy, okay? So this is the reason, like if you go in a temple, if you go in church, we can find the belt. So those are also the part of the sound healing therapy, okay? So in Hinduism we believe that whenever we go in a Hindu temple and whenever we ring the bell, so bell sounds goes through the god, it's communicate with the god, okay?
Intrigued by the handmade qualities of the singing bowls, I wanted to find out how they were made. Raju shared with me a video of the process and let me know there are still local manufacturers working in Nepal making the bowls by hand. We traveled to Lalitpur to visit the Harati singing bowl factory, where they are still made by hand in the traditional way.
My name is Pratik First. I am Nepali. My hometown is in Dharan. I am working with Mr. Santaratna Sakya. He is an international artist of singing bowl, and he is my uncle and my business partner too. And he performs concert of singing bowl all over the world. And he is an international artist, and he is renowned for sound healing. He is a sound master.
Pratik is a 5th generation singing bowl manufacturer, and his family business has been around for around 200 years. He gave me a tour of the manufacturing facilities.
Okay, this is a singing bowl factory. At first we melt all this raw material inside in this furnace. There are 7 types of metals which we melt together. It is copper, tin, gold, silver, lead, zinc and iron. All this raw material we put here, it will melt around 1200 degrees centigrade and it will become like this. This is a singing bowl bullet. You can touch in here, it's very heavy, nearly about 5-6 kg, kilogram, yeah. Yeah.
And that's just one bowl?
Yeah. This is singing bowl. After that, we'll put inside in our furnace. Our worker will make it red hot, and it will be beaten by different size of hammer and make it flat, flat, flat. When it becomes complete flat, we'll give it singing bowl shape.
After seeing the long and labor-intensive process of the handmade bowls, I was curious why Pratik continues this tradition rather than allowing a machine to do the work for him.
Because machine-made bowl, anybody can make it, yeah. but handmade is a natural, genuine, and its sound quality is entirely different from machine made. The singing bowl is known for sound healing. The difference of sound between machine made and handmade is entirely different. And machine made bowl is not used for healing also. Only handmade bowl are used for healing.
You know, Latin language, 25% language from Sanskrit.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I found the people to be very, very refreshing just in the most normal, mundane interactions. So are you a devotee?
Sorry?
Are you a devotee of who?
I am is Sanatan,
All of them.
Sanatan religions, everything. But Shiva is everywhere, Shiva. Like
Yes.
that's my Shiva.
Yes.
Shiva. Everywhere is Shiva.
Energy everywhere. I've always had an interest in other beliefs and other ways of seeing the world that we all share, but grew up in an environment where basically I had to look at those things in secret. It wasn't that they weren't encouraged, they weren't allowed.
Shiva is not God. Shiva is everything. Your heart, your head, your leg, your shoes, everywhere is Shiva.
I viewed all of these other ideas that I was coming across as like an expansion on my viewpoint of myself and of, you know, God and the universe and of spirituality and all of these things. It added to the beauty of how I saw things, not take away from it.
Actually, science is Veda. Veda.
Yeah, like quantum physics, they're finding
Yep.
stuff. They're finding things in quantum physics that they were talked about in the Vedas.
Yes, 4 Veda. Rig Veda, Sham Veda, Yajur Veda, Athara Veda.
Today I am taking you to Bhaktapur Durbar Square. Bhakta means devotee and Pur means city, the city of devotees.
You can just be walking down the street in Bhaktapur and going down an alley and you turn a corner and all of a sudden you're in the middle of someone's workshop that's right there on the street. That wheel is not electric, it is physically turned by hand with that stick. We found out later that he's just one of a couple people left that are still producing pottery with this method. And he's just making pottery on the side of the road.
So Bhaktapur is a very beautiful city which has the traditional craft of wood carving, and they work only with hand. They do not use any big machines. They just use the hammer and the chisel.
Wood carving in Nepal is a highly skilled art form that can be appreciated in the smallest of details. The craftsmen use their hands and even their feet as they work through the material.
पेदा वर्ष डट जिमी थाना थजौ जा बने जो बाजा 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 फोन लिसी थये जा बने जो वांग हरेक मंदिर हरेक घर फुक्कं चिसं देखत वांग.
The craftsmen do not use any nails or glue, so the carvings must be very precise in order for the details and patterns to align perfectly when fitted together.
यो हाम्रो चाहिँ यो पुर्खौली पेशा पनि भएकोले मेरो बाजे बुवादेखि पहिलेदेखि गर्दै आएकोले हामी पनि यही गर्दै छु.
Working in the studio today is Krishna's grandson, who began working with wood and learning the family craft at an early age.
It's been a tradition in our family member. Like my fathers, grandfathers, like all belong to the woodwork, artist. And like we also learn wood carving since we are very young. If he or she is interested in the carving, he can learn around like 7 or 8.
Today he is working on a carving known as an eye window, which can be found in homes, temples, and the palaces of Nepal.
Eye window, like it has got a history because like in ancient time, we used this type of windows to protect the girls from the kings. It's because the people from the inside, they can see outside, and the people from the outside, they can't see inside.
These wooden masterpieces are not only intricate and beautiful to look at, they also depict elements of history and religious themes.
हिन्दूहरूको महान मन्दिर हो यो सबभन्दा ठुलो पशुपति मन्दिर यहाँ नेपालीहरूको यो उसको चाहिँ वाहन जस्तै यो साँढे हो गाई यसमा चाहिँ यो कुमारी झाल हो अब यसको पनि सालाखाला यो 4 दिन हो भने यसमा 5 दिन किनभने यो खापा अलिकति बढी छ यसमा कुमारी यो खापा स्लाइडिङ गर्नुपर्ने भएकोले यो डबल काम छ
Walking around Bhaktapur, we see the same motifs repeated throughout the city. A tradition passed down for hundreds of years by woodcarving families like the Shilpakars. So we're in the ancient city of Bhaktapur. Susan wanted to take us to see a very famous, probably the most famous wood carving in all of Nepal, which is called the peacock window. And we noticed this little doorway across from the peacock window and decided to just start exploring in there. It's called the Peacock Shop. Nepal is known for its Lokta paper that they've been making from a plant, a small shrub that grows in the foothills of the Himalayas. It can last for thousands of years. It has a beautiful, beautiful texture. It's almost more like a fabric than it is a paper. It's much more durable. I really loved the backstory of the paper factory because the owner's son had developed all of these drawings of the ancient sites around Nepal with different gods and goddesses and formed basically like a small guidebook of a visitor to Nepal, to some of the ancient areas like Bhaktapur, so that they could identify on the buildings what they were actually looking at, what those symbols mean. And the owner of the shop wanted to produce this into a book. So it was your passion to publish the book that got you into making the paper. That's awesome.
That's fun.
I really felt like he was such a kindred spirit because he had this drive and passion for artwork that they were creating out of the shop there.
And also I am doing in the wood carving business.
We create more than 16,000 like this type of pictures we create.
15 to 16,000.
Yes, we have.
That's your art for this studio.
Yes, if you want, you want to be see, upstairs I have.
Yeah. It's also our home. It was built in 1869.
You see, like this.
Like a scroll.
Scroll and the book.
So you have 16,000
Like
images.
Yeah.
There was this conversation that we had. We just really had this special moment of connecting and sharing that will for sure go down as one of my favorite conversations I've had with anybody on the planet. So you created this whole environment with all these antiques, the whole paper downstairs, that book.
Yeah.
What else do you like to do?
I want, as can I possible, I want preserve our heritage. That is my objectives.
Nice.
Because we are changing.
Yeah.
Impermanent our life.
Yeah.
And so it is we have to live in equanimity. We should be know.
Mm-hmm.
We should be know it is based on impermanent equanimity. That's what we have to be. And that's life is coming. Sometimes happiness coming, sometimes suffering coming. It's coming, going.
It'll
no
change
problem.
tomorrow. Boom.
No, so no problem. But this when I was a student of the bachelor. At the time, my professor has been telling me one philosophy, existence theory.
Existentialism.
Then to be I want to be own my existence to exist. When we born, we have the existence. So I am now working. That's
It worked out.
yeah. I have a whole library. I have a lot of books. I have political science, literature, Buddhist literature, Hindu literature. Those books I have. I have a Bible also. I studied Bible also.
Study it all. It all goes to the same place.
I'm because to explain and to be one, it's necessary to study.
Yes. Otherwise, your thinking stays small. Thank you very much. That conversation ran through my head multiple times of just, we are in a constant state of change, in a constant state of impermanence. And accepting that is really where you can get grounded and where you can continue to grow, as opposed to clinging to things need to stay the same or things need to be the way they are. It's the only way they can be. But there's nothing in nature that works that way. Pashupatinath is one of the most ancient and highly revered Hindu sites in the world. It's a temple that was built for Lord Shiva. It is a pilgrimage site and a UN heritage site that draws people from all over the world. It's the final resting place of Hindus from all over that area, where they bring their loved ones to say goodbye to them on their last stop in the physical world before their bodies are left behind and cremated. That's impermanence through a megaphone. You're seeing the entire human story coming to a conclusion in a very beautiful way, but also from, a Eastern perspective that really sees life as impermanent, and that's something that has to be accepted and worked with, and that it's more of a transference of energy. It was a healthy reminder that we are not here indefinitely, and that life needs to be embraced and lived to its fullest, and that we need to be as expressive and open and sharing as a person as we can be, because we all end up there. After spending days in Kathmandu exploring, it was time for a quick rest and get ourselves ready for the motorcycle adventure of a lifetime.
Dear passengers, may I have your attention please? With the ear announces the departure of flight number 451 to Nepal Range. With the ear announces the departure of flight number
You hear about places like Mount Everest all growing up, and you hear that that's like the ultimate thing for a mountain climber to climb Mount Everest, and then you're looking out your plane window and realizing that's where we're headed on a motorcycle. When we got off the plane in Lumbini, we met up with Vishu Sajali and his team because their guidance over the treacherous terrain is key to our not dying. We're headed up into a small village in the Himalayas to visit with some people of the Magar tribe. Their primary art form consists of ancient traditional music and dance. The motorcycle world is very diverse. There's definitely a component of people that are seeking out what's called adventure riding. People that love travel, that love to experience different cultures, and to be able to do all of that on a motorcycle. And going to Nepal was probably my first foray into that community. First we went to Lumbini, which is the birthplace of the Buddha. We were able to pick up some art supplies for a project that we were going to execute out in the mountains at one of the schools. Kamal. Product. Okay, these should be good. Okay. While communicating with Vishu about the details of the motorcycle expedition into the mountains, he had sent photos of this school in Gulmi and asked if I would be interested in painting a mural on the school. Thank you. And from there, we were headed to the foothills of the Himalayas. The riding in Nepal is some of the most intense riding you could possibly imagine, and even the most seasoned adventure riders have found Nepal to be a very challenging place to ride. Riding in the city is pure chaos, and just getting out of the city into the mountain areas is a challenge to do unscathed, let alone once you leave the city, the roads turn into dirt and gravel, and there's areas that have extreme drop-offs that go down, thousands of feet. There's boulders that fall into the road. There's landslides. There's buses that are flying past you. It is by far the most intensive riding I could ever conjure up, let alone actually do, and it was a blast. Starting to worry I might have missed a turn or something. One of the highlights of the trip on the cuisine side was finding this roadside stand that was part of someone's home that made authentic Nepali delicious food. We had the traditional meal, which was the dal bhat, which is a dish that consists of curried lentils and rice that's combined together when you eat it. As we were finishing up the meal, we saw several kids running around throwing colored powder on each other and realized it was the Hindu holiday Holi that day. We found out as we went on that the tradition with children in Nepal during Holi Festival is to block the road and demand either a treat or a small ransom to allow you to pass through on the road, which was really awesome, going from like one handmade gate to the next of these kids blocking off the road.
Bye-bye.
The back roads leading up to Gulmi on a motorcycle with the huge drop-offs and the large stones and the puddles and everything else is a level of treacherous riding that I don't know exists anywhere else. After riding for 8 hours straight, we started to make our way up 7,000 feet elevation to this village up in the Himalayas.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
It feels like when you come from the big city or like town, you know, just feel like you are in a paradise.
And relax, yeah.
You feel your heart, your soul, everything is gonna be over there. Just feel relaxed.
Awesome. Take me there.
Okay, jump.
As we're riding up there through these roads that are getting worse and worse, the temperature's dropping, the sun starts going down, and then fog starts rolling in, and the level of exhaustion of just being on a bike for 8 hours a day, and then combining that with going to that kind of an elevation, reaching the top and being greeted by the village was pretty much overload for all of us when we finally got up there.
Oh, they're all dancing. Namaste.
When we finally got up to where we were going to be camping, we are directed to where the tents are. The Sherpas had gone up and set up camp earlier in the day.
We're on the top of the Himalayas.
You could not come up with a more incredible place to camp on the planet than where we were able to set up camp. Being woken up at sunrise with a hot bowl of water to wash our faces and a tray with hot tea for each of us, with the mountains as the backdrop. It was just an incredibly peaceful and beautiful place to be. Once you get into these remote village areas in the foothills of the Himalayas, even something as simple as packing in food is complicated because you can't cook at certain altitudes without the right knowledge. And the trained Sherpas that were along with us providing our meals was out of necessity because they've spent decades taking trekking crews into places like Mount Everest. Without the Sherpas, you wouldn't be able to access these remote areas because in addition to taking care of the meals and the campsite, they're meticulously maintaining the vehicles, which if they didn't, and some of the repairs are done on the fly, the roads are so rough and these areas are so isolated that if they weren't there to facilitate the travel, you wouldn't really be able to access any of these areas.
Okay. So, namaste.
Namaste.
I'm Bishu Sijali. I'm from Pokhara, but originally my forefathers came from the Surkhet, is far western region of Nepal. My first trek was when I was in 8th class. I went to the North India for doing the trekking, and then slowly choose the profession, become the good adventure person. So I submitted in 2015 Mount Everest also, and then after I decided to no more climb, just enjoying the nature. So the motor ride, then that's my next passion or the profession also. I really love to ride on my bike. It's kind of a classic cruiser bike. It's not a dirt, but I use like a dirt bike. We go anywhere, any kind of road.
What's the terrain like on these roads?
Train is a Nepali train. We call it easy ride.
This is called an easy ride?
Yeah, we call the easy ride.
No.
Yeah. So we have very rare and very typical culture in Nepal. So I like to go everywhere in the countryside to discover that area, see the culture, and show other too also, like our guests. I'm happy to take them there they also see the real Nepal and the real life of the Nepalese. How not like serve the pizza on the plate in the table. Not, I would like to how to eat like our traditional food. How do they make, how do they grow out there, where they come and how hard the life here. And that's a real life. So I would like to show you as much as rare as typical our culture of Nepal.
One early morning, a basket weaver arrived in our campsite to demonstrate his hand weaving of baskets.
मैले यो सुपो बनाएको छु नाङ्लो.
He made a supo nanglo.
यो हाम्रो बाँस हो सर.
It's making from bamboo.
यो मेरो आफ्नै बुवाले गर्नुहुन्थ्यो यस्तो काम.
Father making bamboo supas and handmade things. So in a childhood he learned from his father.
यो नाङ्लो बनाउनुको केको लागि भन्नुहुन्छ सर यो हामीले गाउँ घरमा.
So he making this nanglo and supo is calling supo in the tradition of our Nepali language. So when this is ready, they using for the filter and cleaning the rice and phone and everything, the lentils, so many kind of things. Multi-purpose they using as like a serving tray also kind of.
We felt genuinely honored that he made the time and effort to not only go and collect the bamboo the previous day, but to take the time to explain and show us this traditional weaving method that was many centuries old.
एकदम सर यो नभई भने हामीलाई चाहिँ कामै चल्दैन. यो त अनिवार्य चाहियो. सहर बजारमा चामल.
He happy to teach the kids, and the new generation to preserve this our culture.
When we get the message from Sean Starr, when he said like you want to do something for the school, for special art, we are really happy, and I talked with these all villagers and they said, oh, this is very good for us, and we choose the school here.
The design for the mural, the motivation of using that phrase of art is love, love is eternal, was actually came in a meditation session I was doing. I was really trying to find an expression that would be somewhat universal culturally and language-wise, that would express what I believe, which is that art is genuinely an expression of love that we create for other people, and that love doesn't dissipate, it doesn't disappear, love is an eternal thing. So that expression of love through art is something that's a permanent thing that gets shared on and on with each generation. When the mural was completed, we were treated to a ceremony by the local village to honor our presence there with traditional dance and music and a complete peppering with tika powder.
They're very happy. It's make them proud because you are here. It's not only money or your time, but it's like art and your heart. You did with your from your heart. So everybody like that.
I feel like going out to an area like that it's so important that it's done as an exchange and not just showing up from the West and going there to take an experience home, but to contribute something where there's an expansion of understanding on both sides, actually spending time with and getting to know the people in the remote villages, seeing how they live, seeing how they survive, to me has so much more value than it does to just find some luxurious trip somewhere that you can go sit and be served cocktails.
तपाईँलाई डर लाग्दैन यस्तो कि अब हाम्रो आउने समयमा हाम्रो यो कल्चरहरू हराउने हो कि अब आउने यो जेनेरेसनहरूले भन्नाले अहिलेको आउने पिँढीहरूले हाम्रो वेशभूषादेखि हाम्रो चलन के छ यो नमान्ने हो कि बिर्सिने होइनले भन्ने त्यस्तो त्यो डर लाग्दैन त्यस्तो
डर लाग्दैन अहिले त्यस्तो छैन.
They're not worried about it because now the our community of Magars, they trying to how to preserve this all things, so they have programs, and only we are afraid with our language because it's almost like nobody can speak here in the Lumpik in Gulmi. The few parts of Gulmi they have their own language, but we preserve that, we learn, and we're trying to one subject of our language in school also, but at least we can save our own language, we will speak when in our group. So we're trying to save our language also. कसरी तपाईले यो कला सिक्नु भएको है नाच्ने?
यो चाहिँ म पहिला सानो मेरो
He's started dancing from when he was very young, like 11-12 years old. So they went in the village and some marriage or some programs in a village, and there's an instrument playing the singing song and dancing. So he's just going to join them, and it's like just for fun he just learned. Now he also playing the drum, mother, but he more enjoying the dancing, and he want to teach. He want to make a one club also kind of where he gonna to teach his what he learned from our traditional dance or song. So he want to preserve that.
The most impressive thing to me about the dancing was how expressive it was of joy. You can see key figures like Bill who have reinvested themselves into those communities for the purpose of keeping the dance and music alive, and who knows how many centuries of tradition are just being rolled over to the next generation doing the same music and the same dance. This experience in the mountains was an incredible experience. It was a reminder of something that I think I had lost, which was that time before cable television and cell phones and constant distractions from the internet and everything else. That world still exists in some places, and it exists there. And in so many ways, it's a better world. It's a calmer world, it's a more family-centric world, it's a beautiful world. And it was a good reminder to me that we have to try to balance that as much as we can and still have those experiences of human connection and sit down with somebody when they offer you a glass of iced tea, because you're going to have a better conversation than sitting on the internet. Seeing the craftsmanship that's still executed widely in Nepal was a great reminder to me of my exposure growing up to different craft, working with my father. And I feel like Nepal is honoring that on such a large scale because it's everywhere and it's appreciated and it's revered. One of the things I really connected with Vishu on is my observation that his motorcycle was the equivalent of my dad's old station wagon that we used to work out of in West Texas, because everything about his work is centered around that bike. I could relate with my old 1950 Studebaker for the same reason, because that car represents to me just that ability to just transform your location in a very primitive way. I knew I wanted to do something with the Studebaker that would really capture the excitement of everything that I experienced on the motorcycle in Nepal. And the idea just came to me of how neat would it be to paint this car as if Vishu picked us up at the airport 30, 40, 50 years ago in that car. A lot of what's on that car is influenced by delivery trucks that are in India and Nepal and the style of typography used on them. And one of my favorite slogans, if you will, that Vishu said over and over when we were out there with his own excitement of what he wanted to share of his culture was he really loves to take people to see the real Nepal. And painting that on the back fender was a nice reminder that that's what we really saw. And so I knew that had to be on the car, as well as incorporating something with the Royal Enfield motorcycles and the paint scheme with the satin black, the red and cream pinstriping, things that were authentic parts of my past with my dad's shop. And wanted to create basically kind of a love letter to everything we experienced in Nepal with the aid of Vishu, without whom we'd have never been able to go experience those things in the mountains. I really feel that creativity it's a way of life, it's a way of living, it's a way of seeing the world, engaging with the world, diving in head first, and taking all of that in whatever work or form that you have, reinterpreting that in a gift to the world, which brings us back to what I really believe, which is that art is love. We all really are interconnected, and the world is a small place. We have family all over this planet, and the more that we embrace that idea and embrace each other's cultures and traditions and are more open as people, the better this world will be, and the more we're going to all enjoy being here.
welcome to our beautiful country, Nepal. Namaste.
Where is the camera? Light action. Yeah. Makeup. And makeup.
There's not enough makeup now. In the end, you know, it's y'all's call if you want to factor in the wreck. It could even be at the end after the credits or something. Yeah, something fun like that.
What happened? What do you think happened?
I don't know. Came around a corner and woke up on the ground.
And so what hurts right now? What did you hit?
Entire right side of my body hurts. I banged up my ribs pretty bad. I got knocked out. I broke some ribs. And I'm not 100% sure what happened, but I think we came around a corner and hit a large boulder, which just flipped us both over the handlebars.
You gonna go to the clinic or just
Go get a pina colada.